So you're looking to buy a new 4K TV, but you're wondering which one do you get? Not a problem. Let's help you out. First, I'll tell you about what you should know about 4K TVs in general. Then I'll let you know about some picks as chosen by the editors of CNET. If you want to jump to the recommendations, just go to this timecode. Otherwise, let's learn about what we need to know about televisions so we're not confused by all kinds of fancy TV terms. First up, display technologies. There's LCD TVs, also called LED TVs, and OLED TVs, also called OLED TVs. That means you're just spelling it out. OLED stands for Organic Light Emitting Diode. Each pixel provides its own illumination. There is no separate backlight. LCD stands for Liquid Crystal Display. These days, all the pixels you see on LCDs are lit up thanks to an LED-powered backlight system. LED stands for Light Emitting Diode. If someone says something is an LED TV, that means they're talking about the backlight in an LCD TV. If you remember the early days of flat-screen TVs, you may remember they were kind of thick compared to today's TVs. Part of that was due to the type of backlight. Older TVs used cold cathode fluorescent lamps, or CCFLs. The switch to LEDs, as the backlighting tech, allowed TVs to get thinner. Depending on how many LEDs are in that TV and a few other things, you can get blooming. That's where bright area leaks into an adjacent dark area. You don't want blooming. If you've heard of QLED, it's a Samsung branding term which stands for Quantum Dot LED TV. What's a quantum dot? It's a tech that promises more lifelike color. However, what QLED is not is OLED. QLED is a variant of the LED LCD. QLED and OLED are two very different technologies. QLED, backlight. OLED, no backlight. QLED, little bar in the O, making a Q. OLED, no little bar. Which one is better? If you're looking for a picture that delivers pure black, that's OLED. Since each pixel in an OLED display can be illuminated individually, you can turn off a pixel to create true black. LED tech is getting better, especially with the introduction of mini LEDs. Like the name suggests, they are smaller than LEDs, so there are a lot of mini LEDs providing the backlight. That means the TV has more control over what gets dimmed and what doesn't. Also, since mini LEDs are smaller, you can pack more of them in than traditional LEDs. So if you're looking for a TV that can get really, really bright, a TV with mini LEDs may be the way to go. On to 4K. 4K used to be a way to sell expensive TVs and make you feel bad about your measly HD TV enough to upgrade. But times have changed. If you're looking at a TV at around 43 inches or larger, that TV will likely have 4K resolution as standard. If you're looking at a TV over 50 inches, good luck finding a non-4K version. Next, image quality is not all about 4K. 4K is a resolution. That almost always means the TV has 3,840 pixels by 2,160 pixels. For comparison, HD is 1920 by 1080. So that means you could fit 4 HD images within one 4K display. Image quality is not just about the resolution. You'll have to consider things like contrast, dynamic range, peak brightness, and HDR performance. Let's highlight a couple of those terms. In simple words, contrast is the difference between the brightest a TV can be and the darkest. If something has low contrast, the images may look washed out because the darkest and brightest parts of the image don't vary greatly. If you look at something like an OLED screen, the difference between light and dark can be great. The darkest part of the screen are black because the individual pixel is off. If you really want to get an education about TV contrast ratios, check out What is TV Contrast Ratio on CNET. Let's talk about HDR. HDR stands for High Dynamic Range, and it expands the range of both contrast and color significantly when compared to HD TVs. Bright parts of the image can get much brighter, so the image seems to have more depth. Colors get expanded to show more bright blues, greens, reds, and everything else in between. You may have heard of HDR when it comes to photos, and that is a different thing. HDR photos combine multiple images with different exposures to make a single image to mimic a greater dynamic range. TV HDR actually expands the contrast ratio and color palette beyond what you'll see on HD TVs. Even more fun is that there are multiple HDR formats that your TV would have to decode. If you want to get into the weeds with that, check out Dolby Vision, HDR10, Technicolor, and HLG HDR formats explained on CNET. For our purposes, know that there are multiple HDR formats, and multiple HDR formats can coexist on a single TV. Now, there is stuff beyond picture quality when it comes to TVs too. If you like to game, you might want to know about a TV's input lag. Input lag is a term for the delay in milliseconds between a TV receiving a signal and the results of the signal appearing on the screen. In this case, a lower number means that there's less lag. What about built-in apps? If you haven't bought a TV in a long time, you should know that the built-in apps in TVs have gotten a lot better. Depending on the TV, you could be seeing the Roku or Google TV interface built right in. Those are pretty mature and have a great deal of apps. Not every TV company these days tries to make their own smart TV ecosystem. Speakers. Look, to be nice, most built-in speakers on televisions, they're not great. We suggest you get yourself a soundbar or other speaker system. Okay, with all of that said, let's get to the recommendations. If money is no object, we suggest the LG OLED G1 series. LG made this thing incredibly thin and slim. The G1 is meant to be hung on a wall, and it comes with a mount. Once hung, the G1 sticks out from the wall a whopping 1/8 of an inch, or a little over 3 millimeters. If you want to place the TV on a cabinet or something else, the feet will cost you an extra $100. This TV had the best picture quality we have ever tested. The G1 features a panel exclusive to this TV in LG's lineup. It gives you better color and better brightness, although the improvement is subtle compared to other LG OLED TVs. So if the style of the G1 didn't hook you, take a look at the LG C1 series to save a few bucks. As for smarts, LG does have its own smart TV interface. The remote lets you mouse around to different apps. Both Google and Amazon voice assistants are available. There's also a game optimizer mode with picture presets just for gaming. The LG G1 series comes in 3 sizes and costs some money. 55 inches will cost you $2,200, 65 inches will cost you $3,000, and a 77-inch G1 will cost you $4,500. Okay, so what's the best OLED alternative? The Samsung QN90A has the best picture of any non-OLED TV we've tested, and the best bright room picture, full stop. Inside, you're going to get a mini LED powered backlight that features full array local dimming. Local dimming improves LCD image quality by making certain areas of the picture dimmer or brighter in reaction to what's on the screen, which significantly boosts contrast. One of the keys to this TV's performance was the excellent black levels. You get minimal blooming in this picture. It gets very close to OLED quality. As for the design, the Samsung QN90A is sleek with a small central stand. The TV has channels for cables on the back like the LG we mentioned. The Samsung is not as thin as an OLED, so if that bothers you, you know that now. Samsung included a solar panel on the remote that should be rechargeable in normal household conditions. Otherwise, you can use USB to recharge the device. You also get a choice of 3 voice assistants: Alexa, Google Assistant, and Bixby. The Samsung QN90A is the best non-OLED TV CNET has ever tested. Retail pricing starts at around $1,300 for a 43-inch model and all the way up to $5,000, but that is for an 85-inch model. If you're looking at a 65-incher, it retails for around $2,600. What's the best 4K for the money? That has to be the TCL 6 series. It did come out in 2020, but it's still hard to beat for the price. Retailing at $1,300, you get a 65-inch 4K TV with mini LED tech inside. There are 2 variants of the 6 series these days. One is powered by Roku's platform, the other is powered by Google. We've only tested the Roku version. Anyway, those mini LEDs maximize brightness, leading to better images in bright rooms and with HDR. Local dimming manages to keep black levels dark and overall contrast superb, although it's not perfect. And gamers will appreciate the new THX certified game mode, which serves up fast response time with minimal lag and excellent image quality. Now, new models of televisions come out all the time, so browse around CNET.com for more information. We've got so many tips to help you get the most out of your TV. We've even got suggested picture settings for some TVs if you like tinkering with your tech. I'm Zach Tyre, and I'll see you online.